Okay, so if God made all the windows around it, and it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, so they could have somehow stuck something out the windows and got water evidently. But what happened after it rained? Where did they get water for the rest of that 317 days? Anybody have any idea?
Probably a bucket or some kind of thing to catch it. Some type of vessel, vases.
But the rain stopped after 40 days. So where the rest of the time? Okay. Do you have any idea how much food and water an elephant drinks?
Mm-hmm.
So if he took two elephants on there, I'm gonna get to that in just a minute. Okay. So what did God do with the ark, and how would it have looked? This is what I'm trying to get a picture. Okay. It would have had a flat roof. Okay. And the flat roof would have had something built up on it. Okay. High enough to catch water. Hello. And then there had to be some way that God had made, remember He gave them a scroll of plans for the whole 100 years. There would have had to been some way to drain water into the ark for all the animals and for all the humans. Do you think they went 317 days without taking a bath? Well, how'd they cook their food? We're going to get into all this. We never think about these things. And people say, Bro Jones, where did you come up with that? God gave me a scroll. Does that make sense to you? And He rolls it out little by little, because I want to know what God did for my ancestors. And by the way, every one of you came through the lineage of Noah. Hello. All of you. Well, did Noah have one red kid? Or one brown kid? Or another black kid? Or a white kid? No. Then it had all this come about. How many like me to go in that sometime? Where'd all the races come from? Okay. Where'd they come from? Okay, we will keep going here. Okay. And I'm going pretty quick on this. Okay. But maybe, just maybe, did God not bring, because God brought all of them to the ark, maybe God just didn't bring live animals. Okay. Maybe He brought embryos. How many of you know what an embryo is?
That's the cells.
That's a human that's not alive yet.
Yeah, in the womb.
Okay. Do you know why? And listen carefully. I'm going to give you another thing in there. Okay. Why aren't they alive yet? Because they've not put the seed and the sperm together. But they're still real. And when the egg and the sperm go together, we've got what? If it's supposed to be a giraffe, it'll be a giraffe, won't it? Yeah. It's going to be a pig, it'll be a pig. It's going to be human, it's going to be human. And God never meant for any of this to change over. Never. And the world is going crazy now. And I told you this before, especially the Chinese and the Russians and the Germans, they try to mix all kinds of embryos and seed from all kinds of different animals, different kinds of human beings. See how they can make mutations in humans. You can't believe it. That's what Germany wanted. They called it the Aryan race. You remember that? Okay. White, blonde, okay, big muscles, strong runners. I mean, no, they're still trying to do that.
Yeah.
They never gave up on all this stuff. Okay. You know what they did with slavery? Did anybody get off on that just? You know what they did with the slavery? They picked the prettiest, strongest girls, young girls that would still had all their whatever going for them, as long as they could have a baby. And then they picked the biggest, strongest buck, and I'm not being ugly when I say that, male, okay, and they mated them together. They had no choice. Okay. Look at chapter 6 up here, and you see the same thing the devil did with these fallen angels. He converted them into human beings, and they had sex with the women, the most beautiful women. And this is where the giants came from, called mighty men of old. Nothing has changed. You said, Brother Jones, I don't ever hear this thing. Well, maybe you need to get more involved in what we're doing here. It's in the Bible.
Yep.
God declares it. I'm not making these things up. I'm just using common sense with a lot of it to say, what happened? Did God bring embryos? and put all the things that he wanted to put in the ark in an embryo form, or just a small animal so they could grow? How did he do that? Okay, because we're going down and read, we said that you see that God built cubicles for all the animals. Tell me something just out of your mind. Where in the world did Noah get all that lumber?
He cut it down from trees.
But where did he get trees that were huge? Okay, and
I don't know.
I went
God
to the ark. Okay, up in Kentucky. Okay, Joan and I told you about that. Okay, and the just
It's long.
the walls that came up were this wide. Okay, and this table is 4 feet wide. Okay, and that's only a quarter size. Then how wide would the build's gone? 16 feet.
Wow.
What kind of a tree could you get 16 feet out of by hundreds of them, okay, that are about 60 feet high? Where in the world could you get them, and how could you move them?
God did it.
How could you move them? Well, God said, well, if Noah was building 100 years and only had 3 sons, that was the generations, I just read it, 3 sons, how did 4 men move things that weighed hundreds of tons? How'd they stand them up? Because they had to stand them up. And how did they lock them together when you had floors that were 510 feet long by 85 feet wide? How many boards would it have taken? And those boards would have had to have been this thick to hold the weight that was going to be put on there in all these animals and all the food and everything. And where did he get the machinery to make it? Who did he get to carry it? And where did it come from? We know a lot of it came from Lebanon. Okay, let's go a little farther than that. Okay, you went 510 feet by 85 feet, 510 by 85, 510 by 85. Okay, with big timbers in between. Okay, and it had stanchions in the middle of it, supports that had to hold all these floors up. Why? Why? Because there was going to be a tremendous amount of weight on that ark. So what if God had him build some big walls up on top that would hold water? He said, how's that wood going to hold water? Well, God says it right in here. He said, you pitch all the ark inside and outside with tar.
Okay.
Now, wait a minute. Now, where was the tar?
Now, where'd they get that?
Hello, boy, I get these blank looks from you in here, okay, and I want it that way, because I want to teach, I want you to learn. Where was God having that ark built? Does anybody know? Right there in Canaan land, right down at Sodom and Gomorrah. So we talked about that with Abram and Lot, didn't we? And the 4 kings that attacked the 5 kings, and how when the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah ran, that many of them fell in the tar pits and got killed in the tar pits. And today they still go over there. The tar is still there, coming up out of the ground. Okay, and you know what they found in the tar pits? Dinosaurs and all kinds of prehistoric things. That's where the ark was built. Why? Because that's where God had to have something to seal up the ark. I heard somewhere years ago, and I'm not sure.
That makes sense.
I'll get it all right. There was a Christian oil man out of Texas, and he was studying Genesis, and he said, tar must come from oil. That's where it comes from. Now, that road you drove in out there is nothing but tar. That's nothing but oil mixed with rocks and topsoil. That's all it is. And it holds up and it holds up. Look at all these big old trucks that run up down it all the time, just pounding it, and it holds together. So God told Noah, he said, I want you to pitch inside and outside with tar. I want you to seal everything with tar. Well, what happens to tar if it gets hot?
Milk.
It melts.
So what did God cover that with? Does anybody have any idea?
Right.
You go in chapter 5, okay, and you see where God taught him how to make copper.
Oh.
And in the same area, he put big, huge copper mines,
Okay.
and he taught them how to smelter copper, and how to roll it out in sheets. How many of them never even thought about this?
Wow.
Because you didn't want animals rubbing up against tar, did you? Get that stinking stuff in. on you. Okay. And it would smell all the time, wouldn't it? So how in the world did he cover up the tar? I think because God gave him the copper before he ever gave him the ark. And all the time that he's building that ark, another 100 years has gone by, and all the time they're learning more and more and more. I'll give you an idea. God told him to make trumpets, all kinds of musical instruments. Before the ark, God put music in there and taught people how to make things out of brass.
Wow.
So they already had brass and tin, didn't they? Okay. How many of you know to make brass you have to have tin? And that has to be mixed to make brass. What's the difference? Because one's harder than the other. Brass is harder than the copper. Copper is easy to mold and move around. I don't know that that's what it was, but it sure seems right. But I read they had copper up there way before Noah, and then all of a sudden God said put tar everywhere, inside and outside. So what did they cover it with? Now how in the world, and let me keep reading, okay, how in the world did they keep water? Because everything has to have water. So what happened there? 150 of those days, God is still going to do something with water. How many of you know what God was doing with water? He was making it come down off of the earth, back into the earth where it came from, okay? And he said the fountains of the earth were broken up. And what does a fountain do from the inside of the earth? Does anybody know? It's called an artesian well.
Yeah, make springs.
Okay, I'm going to blow your mind with this next statement. And anybody out there, don't throw a rock at me, I'm just supposing, because God is trying to show us how he could, and maybe did, keep everything alive on that ark, okay, for 317 days. Now, how did we come up with that figure? How did we come up with 317 days? Because the Bible said they were in the ark for a year, and then 17 more days.
Okay.
The Jewish year was 360 days. If you multiply that out, you come up with 317 days that they were in the ark. So where'd the water come from? Did God take some of these fountains that he broke up from the deep, okay, and give Noah a plan to where there would be a fountain flowing up right beside that ark, where there was a fountain of water all the time coming up onto the top, and he drained it down into everything in the ark? He said, how'd that work? I said, you came from Yankee land up there, so you never really saw what I'm going to talk about artesian water. Maybe, you know what I'm talking about?
I know.
Okay.
I
Do you know that on
Northampton.
Horn Island? Okay. When we first moved down here, the land had moved back because of a hurricane, but there was an artesian well out on Horn Island, right under the water, maybe 200 yards from back, spurting up water. Would that have been impossible for God to do that? Now, let me take over to the children of Israel again, okay? Anybody out there getting excited about this? I hope, okay? You know what he did with them? The rock that he told Moses to strike at Petra, okay? That rock followed them all the way across that desert for 40 years. And how much water did he put out?
Tons of water.
Rivers
Water.
of water, okay? Why couldn't he do the same thing for the ark?
I think he did.
Okay, now, how come the ark, and I said this last week, how come the ark didn't have a rudder? It didn't have a sail. It didn't have anything to oar. It had no way to move it.
Yeah.
Had no way to move it. So did God move it?
Yeah.
He moved it where he...
No, the Bible said God lifted it up.
And it
He
got
lifted-
raised up by the water.
Just put it and just set it there.
Yeah.
Now, do you know why?
God told him
Oh, I'm getting you excited down there, Archie. That's fun. Okay. So why would God just have it there? Because he's going to cover everything with water. Now, if the boat is floating right around in all these storms all the time, which I never see in the Bible, he just said it rained, right?
Yeah.
And came from underneath. Okay. So what if that ark had begun to move, and the mountaintop had been covered, and it's nothing but great big old spires of jagged rock, and that ark had slid into one of those things? What do you think would have happened to everything on the ark and to the ark?
the ark would have fell apart.
So don't you think my God just said it still?
Yeah.
And no, I think
No, I
He
got
put it-
an answer for that. Hang on.
Okay.
Because when he brought it back down,
it was
where
not,
did it come back to?
it wasn't where it was.
No. He brought it back down to the mountains in Ararat. Where was Ararat? In modern day Turkey. Where was Turkey? Part of that conglomeration of where the ark was built.
Oh.
Brought it right back down to the same place that it left. Now, how'd you keep it there? Well, I get excited when I think about how big my God is. And we ain't gotten anywhere yet as to what God's been talking to me about. He said, you lifted it up. He lifted it up.
Mercy.
Okay. What did he say about the Ark of the Covenant? They lifted it up. And then they guarded all the time. And nothing ever happened to the Ark of the Covenant. Nothing happened to this Ark either. Let's read. Okay. Where'd the poop go? Anybody have any idea? Okay. Where'd the
No.
poop go?
Food go,
And how much was it?
and it was barrels.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. How could 8 people? Okay. How could 8 people go through every stall, and that's what they were, go through every stall every day and scoop up all that poop and shove it out of an 18-inch window? And you got 8 people with some kind of shovels or some to scoop poop, walk all the way down the length of that thing. So it wasn't an 18-inch window. It had to be something different up there. Okay. But when I'm looking at what God was talking to me, he said, no, I made a way, because he said, I made the boards. I made the boards in there to be underneath what they stood on. And every time that they pooped, it went through the boards, and that they just had to scrape it through the holes, okay, and it was gone.
Wow.
Because God had a conveyor belt of some system, okay, coming through there, where he dumped it out of the ark himself.
That's it.
Okay.
Well, that makes sense.
I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's in the Bible.
No, it's just common sense that they had to poop.
I know that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
they had.
What would happen to you if you didn't poop for a week?
We stopped them.
You'd be in the hospital. And they'd be doing things to you that you didn't really want them to do.
Well, if I had to poop it, just
No,
do
but
it on yourself.
what
You're
I'm-
talking about getting rid of.
See what I'm talking about miracles. This is
Yeah, I
what
see it's a miracle. I see it.
everything is a miracle. Okay. Okay, let me read. Okay. If there were 2 elephants, okay, and if a full-grown elephant, okay, can be as tall as 14 to 15 feet high.
And weighed 2,000
Okay.
pounds.
This is 10 feet. Can you imagine 5 feet over this? 2 of those things that big, okay, about as wide as 2/3 of this room. I mean, huge. Can you imagine having those on the ark and then having to feed them? Okay, let's see what they ate. Okay, two full-grown elephants, okay, would do 75,400 pounds of poop while they were on that ark.
And the poop is big. I seen the elephants. The poop is really big.
It's huge, up to 4 feet long and about 3 feet wide. Yeah, it ain't
And
little.
it's
Okay.
sometimes soft
Okay.
and sometimes hard.
Okay. So two little elephants would have still done 150,000 pounds of poop while they were on the ark. Now, how did 8 people scoop up 150,000 pounds from just 2 elephants?
They don't.
So did God have elephants on the ark? Or did something else happen
Or
with elephants? Okay. Now,
the
hang
girl
on.
and boy Emerald.
Okay. Well, could they have been tiny little embryos?
It
Okay.
could be.
And
It could
did he
be.
not have to feed them? Okay. So if he didn't feed them, and listen carefully now, to store embryos today, okay, they've
You
got
need
to
a
have it
refrigerator.
at 450 degrees below zero. So they got to have another plan. Yeah,
You always have.
God's always got a plan.
Yeah.
How many of you have always got a plan?
I don't.
Not like
You better
God.
get one, okay?
Not like the
Not
God
like
I
You
know.
know, you,
Not
you know,
like
you know
God.
what my nickname is?
Plan.
Please.
The idea man.
Oh, yeah, the
Idea.
planner.
That's my
always have
nickname.
ideas.
Okay, because no matter what you say, I've always got something ahead of that. That makes sense. Okay, I got something ahead for you too. Okay, a lot of people don't listen. They hear, but they don't listen. Okay, so let's see. Okay, where did hummingbirds and bees get nectar on the ark? Oh, wait a minute. Then they don't get it anywhere from plants and flowers, right?
Yeah.
Well, where were the plants and flowers on the ark? Is that mentioned?
No.
No. Then how did God feed hummingbirds and bees? Did they have
By
to have?
sugar water.
Well, where'd you get the sugar from? Did they
He
have sugar
provide
canes, sugar
everything for
beets?
everybody.
I don't know.
He's the
Okay.
provider.
Or
He
did they
did
get honey?
Or
Where'd they get the honey?
embryos.
whatever they needed.
No. We're looking about God's supply. This is really what this is about. Looking about God's supply. God never missed a beat.
That's right.
You're the one that misses a beat. See what I'm saying?
Right. Yes.
2 years in high school, I was in the best drill band. Best drill squad in ROTC. Never was in the band. I tried and I snuck at it. Finally gave up the trombone. Okay. Because I didn't do it. I could just try to copy where somebody was moving this because I didn't really know what I was doing. Anybody done that? Yeah. Okay. Did giants build the ark? Who was strong enough to build the ark? Okay.
Maybe.
His
Do you think
kids
that
were
maybe?
mad at him
Do you think that
at
maybe?
first.
Do you think that maybe Jesus let the angels change forms
Maybe.
and mighty angels of God
Oh yeah.
built the ark? Is it possible that
Anything's
men didn't know
possible.
it was angels? That they just thought it was some of these big giant creatures? Can you imagine something so big that two of them could pick up 100 tons and stand it?
It's possible.
This blows my mind. I don't know if you make, but God always has a plan. Did He not say, "I've got my angels in charge of you in all of your ways"?
That's what he said.
What was Noah's way? To build an ark.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I didn't know.
Okay, you got that?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
right, you're right. That's
Number
true.
J. How did animals like whales, seals, polar bears that had to have ice and cold live a year and 17 days? And by the way, that's 377 days, not 317. A year and 17 days on the ark. Were they there?
Nope, I don't think so.
No, they weren't there. So something else is going on at the same time that God is protecting Noah and his family. Something else is going on. Okay, let's read. Okay, what did the meat eaters eat on the ark? If they couldn't eat anything but meat. Okay. For instance, I told you that lions will die. Okay, if they just try to live on grass or things that an ox or cow can live. No, they do eat some of it sometimes because there's vitamins and minerals in it, but they don't ever digest it, and they never poop it. They upchuck it.
Oh.
Like dogs.
Yeah.
Upchuck it.
They upchuck it. Okay, because God gives them the things they need and the vitamins and minerals and so, but He doesn't let it be a diet for them. So once again, back to my question: if they were meat eaters, what did they eat on the ark?
He maybe changed that so they could eat grass.
Okay. Or
He can
did
change
did God
things.
make certain things after the ark that He didn't want on the ark?
Could have
How
been
many
that.
know that if He had all these cows, all these animals on the ark, sheep, goats, all of them are totally terrified of just the smell of a meat-eating animal. Hello? Just the smell. And they would have stayed in a total panic all the time. Okay, go back to what I said about God just raising the ark up and letting it come back down to the same place. Okay, in the valley of Shinar there, which is the slime pits. Okay, if those animals were walked by all around, and we hear all these preachers talking about all the storms that came, it doesn't say that. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights, and then the fountains were broke up, and everything joined together to flood the earth. Animals are very, very scared of any movement that is not their own doing. So what did God do with them? He kept that ark totally stable. You know why? Otherwise they would be so afraid that they would have 2 horses. Do you know that a horse could kick out a stall They get afraid. That fear makes them be absolutely terrifying,
Especially being next to a
strong.
lion.
Yeah, same thing. Nothing likes to be in a cage, okay? And they always try to get out. Okay. But when fear comes on anything, how about you?
Yeah.
You ever got fearful of something that slaps somebody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Punch somebody out.
Or did you pick up something in a dangerous situation when you didn't think you could pick it up? Yep, called adrenaline. Yeah, all these things. God did not let anything, it's called a spirit of fear. I didn't do that. God did not give us this demon of fear. I did not give you the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And He's showing His love to all the animals and everything on that ark, just like He did to 8 people on there.
Jesus.
Aren't you glad He loves you?
Yes.
Yep.
Man, to think of what He's got planned for us when we step
That's
out of
right.
this life into His life. Good gracious. Okay. How did sunlight get in the ark?
With the windows on
With the
top.
windows.
The windows had to be covered with something. It had to have something going out above the windows, okay, or the rain would have come in. See what I'm saying? All that rain pouring down would have, they'd have got moisture in there.
He was
And
the
there's a lot
light.
of things that can't handle moisture, by the way.
He's the light.
Do you know there are animals that don't drink all their whole life? And if they get water on them, they die?
Yeah.
I do a lot of studying, okay?
You sure do.
Okay.
Sure do.
Coming down off the ark, coming out the door. How many doors was it?
One. Is it one?
One door.
Yeah,
Just
that-
one door.
One
yeah,
door.
Okay. Now, when God brought all the animals, and God brought them, by the way. Noah was building, Noah was preaching, Noah was trying to win some souls, and in 100 years he didn't get one convert that we know of.
And he blew up Babylon.
Would you get discouraged
Yep.
going 100 years and couldn't win one convert? Boy, I feel that way sometimes. You might know where I'm coming from.
Yes.
You try, you preach, you teach, you love, you honor, and yet people don't respond. They don't respond. Okay, we're gonna end this 30-minute segment in just a minute. But how did they get all these animals up 3 stories?
That God said the animals will come on their own, and they did.
Who talked to me?
What had they get? Did they have steps?
Yeah, I think.
Did God
Yeah.
make did he have him build an elevator?
No. It was a plank, and it was plank.
No.
It's like you don't go.
How many of you know animals are scared to climb?
Yeah.
They're scared to climb. If they walk on 4 feet and they like a cow or anything, they are terrified to climb. Okay. You know what they have to do a lot of times with cows when they load them up? They have to have a crane go down with the bucket and pick them up and set them in the container because they will not go up a ramp.
Oh, really?
Absolutely will not go up most animals that way. So how in the world did all these animals go up 3 flights to exactly the place that they're supposed to be?
I know that.
And I said, did Noah have an elevator in there? We don't know. Another
Maybe.
miracle that we never paid any attention to. Hello? Okay, we through with this one?
You got 1 minute.
1 minute, okay. Put this in your little thinking cap and look at the miracle it's the greatest miracle that ever happened outside of the first creation. And now we come up on the 3rd creation, and now we're going to come up on the 4th one, I believe, in my lifetime, and we're going to get on that next week. Okay, let's end this one, and we'll do the next.
Okay.